Transportation. What is transportation? The substances synthesized or absorbed in one part of the body are moved to the other parts by the process of transportation. For example, water absorbed by root system of plants is transported to the stem tip. The oxygen absorbed in respiration is supplied to the cells of the body. Carbohydrates, which are energy-giving nutrients, are transported to the other parts of the body from where they are synthesized. The process of transportation of materials in animals is called circulation. It occurs with body fluids and lymph. Transportation in human beings.
In human being, the transport of nutrients, oxygen, hormones, enzymes, excretory substances, and carbon dioxide take place through blood and lymph. Systems which are formed from blood and lymph are known as blood circulatory system and lymphatic system. Blood is a living, red-colored, liquid connective tissue. The liquid medium of blood is known as blood plasma, in which blood cells are suspended.
The oxygen necessary for the cells is carried by the blood to the different cells. Thus, blood acts as the medium for the transport of materials and helps in the process of transportation. The blood flows in the network of tubes in the human body. A pumping organ is necessary to push the blood around the body. The blood forms a system to repair the network from time to time if it is damaged. The blood platelets are responsible for repairing the damage done. Now let us proceed to study the structure and the functioning of the heart, which is the pumping organ and transports blood to all the parts of the body. Heart. The heart is a vital organ of the body. It works as a pump for pushing the blood into the network of tubes. It is a muscular organ. A protective covering, pericardial membrane, is present around it. The size of a human heart is that of a size of a human fist, and its weight is about 360 grams. Both oxygen and carbon dioxide have to be transported by the blood. The heart has different chambers on left side and right side to prevent the mixing of blood having oxygen or carbon dioxide. The left half carries oxygenated blood. Why is it necessary to separate oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood in mammals? It becomes necessary to separate oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood because such a separation allows a highly efficient supply of oxygen to the body. In animals which have high energy needs, this is essential. Birds and mammals have high energy needs to maintain their body temperature. These animals constantly use energy for the purpose of maintaining body temperature. Heart shows different chambers on the left and right side, which are further divided into two chambers. The upper chamber is called atrium and the lower is called ventricle. Hence, the human heart has four chambers: left atrium and left ventricle, right atrium and right ventricle. Let us learn about how the blood circulates through these chambers of heart. Circulation of blood within the heart. When the muscles of the atria are relaxed, the right atrium receives deoxygenated blood collected from different organs of the body via large veins called vena cava. This blood is rich in carbon dioxide collected from the tissues. The left atrium receives oxygen-rich blood from the lungs. This blood is received through four pulmonary veins. Both the atria receive blood simultaneously. When the muscles of atria contract, blood is poured into respective ventricles. Ventricles expand to receive this blood. Left ventricle is filled with oxygenated blood. Right ventricle gets filled with deoxygenated blood. Both the thick-walled ventricles contract, resulting in pumping out the oxygenated blood to all the parts of the body. The oxygenated blood is carried by aorta. The aorta is the largest artery. Simultaneously, the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle enters the lungs through the pulmonary artery for oxygenation. The valves are situated between the atrium and ventricles. These valves ensure that the blood flows in only one direction. There is no backward flow of blood. Thus, the deoxygenated blood enters the right part of the heart, and again after oxygenation, it enters left part of the heart. The blood goes through the heart twice during each cycle. This is known as double circulation. This characteristic pattern is observed in four-chambered heart of warm-blooded animals like birds and mammals. Let us discuss about the cold-blooded animals. The body temperature of cold-blooded animals varies according to the changes in the environmental conditions. The mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood can thus be tolerated by cold-blooded animals. These animals have three-chambered heart. Mixed blood is circulated by the pumping organ heart. For example, amphibians and many reptiles have three-chambered heart. The fish have only two-chambered heart. The blood goes through the heart only once. Now can you explain why it is necessary to separate oxygenated blood from deoxygenated blood in mammals? The mammals are warm-blooded animals. These animals have high energy needs for maintaining their body temperature constant. The separation of oxygenated blood allows a highly efficient supply of oxygen to the body. Can you tell how many times the blood enters the heart in the human beings? And which part carries the blood for oxygenation to the lungs? In human beings, the blood goes to the heart twice in one cycle, and the pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to lungs for oxygenation. The heart is an important internal organ. Let us revise the structure of heart as seen in its vertical section. The heart is conical in shape. On left-hand side, upper compartment is left atrium, below which left ventricle is situated. On right-hand side, upper compartment is right atrium, below which right ventricle is situated. A large vein, superior vena cava, carrying deoxygenated blood from upper body, and inferior vena cava carrying deoxygenated blood from lower body, both open into right atrium. Opening of right atrium into right ventricle is guarded by right atrioventricular or tricuspid valve. Right ventricle pumps blood into pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery, which carries deoxygenated blood to the lungs. The opening of trunk is guarded by pulmonary semilunar valves. Left atrium receives oxygenated blood from lungs through pulmonary veins. Opening of left atrium into left ventricle is guarded by left atrioventricular or bicuspid or mitral valve. Left ventricle pumps blood into aorta, which carries oxygenated blood to the body parts. The opening of aorta is guarded by aortic semilunar valves. Often, the doctors tend to check our blood pressure as a sign of internal disturbance of the body. Let us understand about this condition or concept. The blood flows through a system of closed vessels inside our body. The force exerted by the blood on the wall of blood vessel is called blood pressure. The pressure is greater in the arteries than the veins. Arteries carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the other parts of the body. The pressure in the artery during ventricular contraction is called systolic pressure. The diastolic pressure is a pressure in artery during ventricular relaxation. The normal systolic pressure is 120 mm of mercury and diastolic pressure is 80 mm of mercury. Blood pressure is measured by an instrument called as sphygmomanometer. An audible sound is heard with the help of a stethoscope when the pressure in the cuff is above 70 mm but below 120 mm of mercury. High blood pressure is also called hypertension. Let us learn about the network of tubes through which the blood circulates. Blood vessels. When we observe the inner delicate region of the forehand, just below the palm on inner side, we notice the prominent lines of blood vessels. Some of these appear bluish in color and they divide and redivide. These are the veins. The veins divide and redivide so that they can ultimately reach to the tissues. The arteries carry blood away from the heart. The blood flows under high pressure exerted by the heart. The arteries have to tolerate the force exerted by the blood. Hence, the walls of the arteries are thick and elastic. On the contrary, the veins collect the blood from different parts of the body and bring it back to the heart. The blood is not under high pressure, hence they do not have thick walls. Veins show presence of valves to prevent the backward flow of blood. When arteries reach tissues, they divide and redivide into smaller and smaller vessels called capillaries. Capillaries bring the blood in contact with individual cells. Capillaries have thin walls. Exchange of materials between the blood and surrounding cells takes place easily through the thin walls of capillaries. Absorbed nutrients and respiratory gases can be exchanged in this way. The capillaries join together to form veins. The veins take the blood away from the organ towards the heart. They carry deoxygenated blood. If we consider the total network of blood vessels inside the human body, the length is about 97,000 kilometers. Blood not only transports the material to the cells and tissues, but it also carries out the repair of the damaged network through the blood platelets. Let us study about this important function of blood. Maintenance by platelets. If a skin is bruised, we can see a blue-black patch. You must be wondering, why does a blue-black patch appear on a bruised skin? The blood vessels, mainly the capillaries, are damaged. This results in internal bleeding. Blood accumulates and coagulates, which causes a blue-black patch. When there is a cut on your finger, it starts bleeding. The injury is deep, hence blood comes out from the cut surface. The bleeding stops after some time due to clotting of blood. When a cut or wound starts bleeding, then platelets help clot the blood. They make the blood semi-solid, due to which further bleeding stops. Let us understand why this clotting of blood is an important aspect of blood repair phenomenon. A cut or an injury damages the network of blood vessels. The blood moves in a closed system inside our body. A leakage in such a system would lead to loss of blood. This also results in loss of pressure, which affects the efficiency of pumping system. Hence, a cut or a wound has to be treated immediately by stopping the blood flow. The blood platelets do the work of plugging these leaks by clotting the blood at the point of injury. Platelets help to make the blood semi-solid. In addition to the main circulating fluid blood, we have another fluid called as lymph, which helps in transportation. Let us study about lymph. Lymph. Lymph is a tissue fluid. When blood flows in the thin-walled capillaries, some amount of water, proteins and dissolved solutes are filtered out from the blood plasma. These contents enter the tissue spaces and it forms the tissue fluid. It is similar to blood plasma, but it has very less amount of proteins in it. The capillary wall is impermeable to plasma proteins, hence it contains very less amount of proteins. Some amount of this fluid enters small channels called lymphatic capillaries. The fluid in these vessels is known as lymph. It is light yellow fluid. It flows in only one direction, from body tissues to the heart.
Lymphatic capillaries join to form lymph vessels that finally open into large veins. Lymphatic system performs three important functions. 1. Collects intercellular fluid through the medium of lymph vessels and returns it to blood circulation. 2. In the villi of small intestine, lymph vessels absorb lipids and conduct them to blood circulation. 3. It protects against disease of our body.
Now can you explain the difference between the flow of two circulating fluids in human body? Blood and lymph are the two circulating fluids in human body. The blood shows double circulation in which the blood passes through the heart twice in one complete cycle of the body. The lymph flows in only one direction from body tissue to the heart. We have studied about the mechanism of transportation in animals. Now let us proceed to study the transportation mechanism in plants. Transportation in plants. Do you know why do we eat fruits and leafy vegetables? Fruits and leafy vegetables are a part of human diet because they provide us necessary vitamins and minerals for proper functioning of body. Do you think plants also need minerals? Like human beings, plants also need minerals for synthesis of food material and proper functioning of other life processes. From where do plants get the inorganic materials other than carbon dioxide and oxygen? Plants absorb carbon dioxide and oxygen from air through gaseous exchange, which occurs through stomata. The other inorganic materials are absorbed from the soil with the help of root system. What happens to the inorganic materials which are absorbed by the root system? The absorbed substances are carried to the other parts of the body. They are supplied to the required parts through a transport system. Let us study about the transport system in plants. The plants cannot move from one place to another. They are rooted in the soil. They have many dead cells in their body. Hence, their energy requirement is less and their transport system is quite slow. Plants need inorganic materials like nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, manganese sodium, potassium, etc. They absorb these materials as mineral nutrition from the soil. Soil is the richest and an easily accessible source of these minerals. Root system absorbs these minerals and transports them. The plants have two types of special tissues for transportation of materials. A special tissue called xylem carries water and phloem carries food material. These conducting tissues interconnect all the parts of the plant. The root system absorbs the mineral nutrients which are dissolved in water. These nutrients are transported upwards through the flow of water. Let us study about the transportation and the tissues involved in the transportation of water in plants. Transport of water. The transport of water occurs by the various mechanisms in the plant body. Root pressure is the mechanism observed in small herbs and shrubs or even small trees. Root cells are in contact with water and minerals present in the soil. Water molecules and minerals enter the cells of roots due to the difference in concentration. The cells at the surface become turgid due to absorption and exert pressure on the neighboring cells called as root pressure. The minerals and water reach the root xylem. The water and minerals absorbed by root hair pass from cell to cell. The water is pushed further and further to eliminate this difference. The steady movement creates a column of water which is slowly pushed upwards. This pressure by itself is not enough to move the water up in tall trees. This pressure is adequate to move water up in small herbaceous plants, shrubs, and even small trees. If this mechanism is not likely to occur in tall plants, then what is the mechanism that operates in absorption and transport in tall plants? Let us learn about the mechanism in trees with the help of an experiment. Take a well-rooted potted plant, for example, coleus. Cover its one branch with a transparent plastic bag. Tie the bag properly to the branch so that no air from outside enters inside. Place the plant in sunlight and water it. Keep it for 5 to 6 hours. Observe the bag tied to the branch. We observe that the inner surface of the plastic bag shows formation of water droplets. The reason behind these water droplets is that the plant is kept in sunlight where it performs photosynthesis. Water is raw material for photosynthesis. Hence, the root system absorbs this water. When sunlight is present, stomata situated on the epidermis remain open. The excess of water is given out in the form of water vapor from stomata. This water vapor condenses on the inner wall of plastic bag and we observe water droplets. Let us discuss about the role of transpiration in tall trees. Transpiration is a process of loss of water vapor from aerial parts of the plant surface which is linked with absorption. Transpiration mainly occurs from stomata of leaves. Evaporation of water takes place from the surface of leaves. Evaporation from the leaves to atmosphere results in decrease in the water potential of the epidermal cells. The water which is lost is replaced by the water from xylem cells, mainly vessels in the leaf. This activity gradually creates suction. Due to suction, water is pulled from xylem cells of roots. As all the parts of a plant are connected by conducting tissues, this process can easily take place. The xylem cells of the roots in turn absorb more water. Thus, the pull due to transpiration helps in absorption of water. It also helps in movement of water and dissolved minerals in tall plants. Transpiration pull is effective during daytime when the stomata remain open. The effect of root pressure is important during night. The mechanism of transpiration pull is effective in tall plants for conduction of water. An oak tree may transpire from its leaves 151,000 liters of water per year. When we consider the crop fields, an acre of corn crop gives off 11,400 to 15,101 liters of water each day. In a plant body, water and minerals are not the only substances that are transported, but also there is transport of food materials synthesized by the plant. Now let us proceed to learn about the translocation of the food. Transport of food and other substances. The plants are autotrophic. They prepare their food material during the process of photosynthesis. The food is in the form of carbohydrates or sugars. Food manufactured in the cells of the leaves is transported to cells present in the other plant parts. Besides amino acids, excess food is taken to the storage organs such as roots, fruits and seeds. The process of transport of food material is called translocation. The process of translocation takes place through phloem in upward as well as downward direction. All parts of the plants are interconnected by conducting tissues. Why do you think there is a need for translocation in higher plants? Food prepared in the leaves is transported to each cell of the plant. Amino acids in the form of proteins are the body-building materials. Amino acids and excess food is taken to storage organs. This stored food can be utilized later for other life processes. Roots, fruits and seeds are the storage organs. Let us learn how the mechanism of translocation occurs in the plants. Translocation is not a simple physical process, but it needs energy. Energy is obtained from ATP. The food material like sucrose is transferred to phloem tissue using ATP energy from the leaf mesophyll cells. The concentration of water molecules decreases in that area. This causes the movement of water into the cells due to osmosis. The increased contents within the cells exert a high amount of pressure on their walls. This pressure moves the food materials to the adjacent cells. This allows the phloem to move material according to the plant needs. In the flowering season, sugar stored in the roots or stem is translocated to the buds. These buds then grow into flowers. Now, can you explain in brief the process of translocation in plants? The transport of food material synthesized in the leaves to the cells of other plant parts is called translocation. Translocation takes place through phloem tissue. The process needs energy which is supplied in the form of ATP. Transfer of food materials like sucrose causes the concentration of water molecules to decrease. This results in the movement of water into the cells due to osmosis. This exerts a high amount of pressure on their walls. Due to this, the food materials move to the adjacent cells with low pressure. Excretion. Elimination of waste products. Some amount of waste is generated in every house daily. Paper, vegetable matter, unwanted articles are thrown out as garbage. If you keep the waste day after day in your house, it will accumulate, causing an unpleasant sight. The unwanted pests and insects may breed in this accumulated waste. Hence, we try to get rid of this waste material. Some of the articles can be reused or recycled. Biodegradable waste can be decomposed while plastic waste can be recycled. Inside the body of living organisms as well, there are large amounts of unwanted materials that are generated by various enzymatic reactions. The body tries to get rid of these unwanted materials, and some of these materials are recycled. The process of elimination of these materials is excretion. Let us study about this important life process happening inside the body of living organism. In the cells of living organisms, biochemical reactions constantly occur. The required substances are produced during these reactions, but also along with these, many unwanted products are also generated. For example, nitrogenous waste materials like urea, uric acid, and ammonia. If these harmful products are allowed to accumulate or remain in the body for longer period, they may cause serious damage. Sometimes this accumulation may lead to death. Hence, these unwanted and harmful waste products need to be eliminated from the body. Different organisms employ different strategies for the purpose of elimination of waste materials. The waste materials can be eliminated through skin also. For example, sweat eliminated from skin glands. Let us learn about the process of excretion in human beings. Excretion in human beings. In human beings, the main excretory organs are kidneys. The excretory system includes a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. The waste products from the blood are removed by the kidneys and the urine is formed. The kidneys are bean-shaped and reddish-brown structures located at the back of the abdomen. They are situated on either side of the vertebral column. The basic filtration unit in the kidney is a cluster of thin-walled blood capillaries called as nephron. Let us discuss the structure and function of nephron. Each nephron has a cup-shaped thin-walled upper end called Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule contains a bundle of blood capillaries called glomerulus. Urea formed in the liver enters the blood. When blood containing urea enters the glomerulus, it gets filtered through glomerular capillaries. The wall of Bowman's capsule is selectively permeable. The selectively permeable wall allows the water molecules and other small molecules to pass through. This forms the glomerular filtrate. The blood free from these materials is taken to the heart through a renal vein. The glomerular filtrate collected in the Bowman's capsule further passes through a nephron tubule. The reabsorption of water and useful molecules takes place in nephron tubule. The remaining fluid containing the waste forms the urine. The urine formed enters the long tube called ureter. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder and from there it is thrown out through the urethra. The urinary bladder is a muscular structure. It is under the control of the nerves. Due to this, we can usually control the urge to urinate. The kidneys are the major excretory organs in the human beings. In addition to kidneys, the skin and the lungs also help in the process of excretion. The undigested fecal matter is excreted outside through the anus. The human beings have a pair of kidneys. Right kidney is placed slightly lower than the left kidney. The liver, which is the largest gland, is placed on the right side, hence the right kidney is placed at a lower level. Each kidney has approximately 1 million nephrons. An average person has around 5 liters of blood, which the kidneys filter about 400 times in a day. Kidneys filter out about 190 liters of filtrate daily to produce 1 to 1.9 liters of urine. The remaining filtrate is reabsorbed by the nephron tubules. Let us revise the structure and function of nephron. Nephron is a basic filtration unit of the kidney. Its function is to filter the blood which carries waste materials. The urine is formed in the process which is thrown out through urethra. Nephron has a cup-shaped thin-walled upper end called Bowman's capsule. A bundle of capillaries called glomerulus is present in the Bowman's capsule. The blood capillaries are thin-walled. They form glomerular capillaries. The wall of Bowman's capsule is selectively permeable. The reabsorption process takes place in a nephron tubule. Thus, the human kidneys are the vital organs concerned with elimination of waste materials. If the function of kidney is disturbed, then the waste materials may accumulate in the body. Under such conditions, an artificial device is used to remove the nitrogenous waste products from the blood. This process is called dialysis. Let us discuss about the process of hemodialysis. Many factors like injury, infections, or reduced blood flow to the kidneys reduce the activity of kidneys. This leads to accumulation of poisonous wastes in the body. These harmful materials may cause a death of a person. In cases of kidney failure, an artificial device is used to remove the nitrogenous waste products. The waste products are removed from the blood in the process of dialysis. At one time, 500 ml of blood is passed through a dialyzing machine. The purified blood is pumped back into the body of the patient. Excretion in plants. Compared to animals, excretion in plants is at a minimal level. The excretion process is much simpler than that of animals. In plants, there is no definite excretory system or excretory organ for removal of waste. Gaseous excretory materials are eliminated by diffusion. The stomata play an important role in the process of gaseous exchange. Many plant waste products are stored in the vacuoles of cells in the leaves, flowers, fruits, and even in the bark. These plant parts fall down and thus the plant gets rid of the waste materials. Some other waste products are stored as resins and gums in old xylem. Plants also excrete some waste substances into the soil through roots. We have thus studied about the different modes of excretion of different animals and plants. Now we can conclude that the basic functions such as nutrition, respiration, circulation, and excretion that help the living organisms to sustain and survive form the life processes. The various life processes work together in an organized and well-coordinated manner for the existence of life.